Recording in progress.
Good evening, everyone, and a heartfelt welcome to all the participants. We are glad and pleased to be with you again in another session of our regular Saturday night webinars. As you know, MegaMind Plus Academy works on three fields like education, training, and consultancy. And one of the regular sessions that we have committed by is organizing webinars on Saturday nights for an expert, a professional, a speaker, international or local, to talk about one of the needs of scholars, one of the needs of the field of education in general and higher education sometimes. For tonight, we are honored with the presence of Assistant Professor Lazgin Barany from University of Nawroz to talk about 21st century foreign language education from theory to practice. Assistant Professor Lazgin Barany is well known in the region and in the surrounding countries also because of his services and participations in different fields, in different capacities, such as researcher, supervisor, and member of the examination committees, and even speakers of conferences. So I'm going to present a short CV of his rich, long list of activities so that you know him better. And because this is a recorded session, so it would be good for those who did not have chance to meet or to see him in person to know something about Assistant Professor Lazgin Barany. Lazgin Barany is an Assistant Professor of Applied Linguistics at the College of Languages, Nawroz University in Dehok, and a visiting professor at the Department of English, College of Languages, University of Dehok. He has taught English language, TESOL, and applied linguistics at different academic institutions, including University of Dehok, University of Mosul, Mosul Technical Institute, DuPau University in America. He has also additionally supervised and examined postgraduate students, again in TESOL and applied linguistics. He was the Director of Training and Development Center of University of Dehok for the period 2010 up to 2014. And since 2008, he has been a scholar at the Institute of International Education, IIE, in the United States of America. From February 2010 till September 2010, he worked as a visiting scholar and part-time faculty member in linguistics and university studies at DuPau University, Indiana, USA. And 2 times a visiting faculty to the Department of English and English Language Center at Michigan State University, Michigan, United States of America. Assistant Professor Lazgin Barany has attended conferences, professional meetings, symposia in Sweden, France, Austria, Malaysia, the United States, Germany, Norway, and Jordan, among other countries, including the different cities and governorates within Iraq and Kurdistan region. And I know him in person. He's a very gentle person, ready to help whoever seeks help. And I also enjoyed being with him in several Viva sessions, and I got benefit from his calm and insightful comments for the students, because they are all, I mean, coming from, I mean, a scholar who has worked in that field for a long time. So we were lucky to be together on several occasions. Thank you very much, Mr. Lazgin, for that opportunity. And the session is would be as follows. You would be the co-host now. You can share your screen whenever you are ready. The whole session is 90 minutes, 1 hour and a half. And half of the time we usually devote to the speaker to present what he has prepared. And then the rest of the time would be for questions, comments, and your answers. The session is recorded for later on to be published on YouTube, but it is going stream live on Facebook page of our MegaMind Plus Academy page. So you can share that with your contacts now or later on. And the questions we can take in three ways. You can raise your hand and we allow you to open your mic and ask your question or add your comment, or you can write it in the chat box, or if you are with us on Facebook, you can write in comment and our staff will send the questions to us and redirect it instead of them. Dr. Lazgin, it is now 9:08 with me, so the floor is yours, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Himdat, for this interesting introduction. And in fact, I've also enjoyed, sharing with you today's session. And also we have had very fruitful discussions on the vivas that we had together. I'll start my session of today. And as the title declares, it's about 21st century foreign language education from theory to practice. And in fact, what makes me, talk about this topic is the challenge that our higher education in Kurdistan faces. We need to move towards a 21st century academic institutions education. And as the title suggests, I will start with something theoretical. Probably, I don't know, will seem to some of you rather tough because it's rather theoretical. And then I will move to the 21st century language education, skills, content, and what we need to redefine in order to meet the 21st century foreign language education criteria. However, as you can see from the slide, the session outcomes, we usually, in 21st century education we are after the learning outcomes. And today also, I hope we will be after the session outcomes. So the participants of this session will be acquainted with 21st century language education theoretical background, acquainted with the paradigm shift towards 21st century education, familiar with the goals of a language program, and hopefully you will be aware of the difference between language education in the past and now, and aware of foreign language skills, aware of 21st century context, and aware of what we need to change and redefine. However, whenever we talk about change, the word change seems like anxious to some of us and confusing sometimes until we understand what is meant by change. In fact, everything is changing in the world, and the world is changing. And hopefully we hope that the world is changing towards better, at least in the context of education, not politics. And we don't need to change everything, in fact. And it does not mean that everything in the past was not good, but we need to make use of what was good in the past. And then we need to redefine what is needed to be redefined so that we meet the expectations of the new demands of the 21st century. The theoretical background of 21st century language education. I would like to start with something that, as we professional professors, especially in applied linguistics, that we have to use. We usually start from an approach, and then we go down to a method, and then we go down to techniques. As you know, an approach means that what theories are behind language learning and what theories are behind language itself, linguistics as science. So accordingly, the 21st century language education and 21st century education in general is based on theoretical backgrounds. Though, as you can see, there are different theories in front of you, but finally, all these theories, in fact, interact, integrated, and embedded in each other. So I'll start with Kotisky social cultural theory, which is the backbone of the 21st century education in general, and 21st century language education in particular. I'm sure that most of you have heard of Kotisky, and his theory is that learning is a matter of social cultural concepts. It's in fact a social cultural phenomenon. And it is based on two important concepts. The first one is the more knowledgeable others, and it is called MKO, which refers to anyone who has a greater comprehension or competence level than the learner. What does this mean? This means, in fact, that learners do not only learn from their teachers and do not learn only inside the classroom, but learners, according to this theory, learn from each other, learn from their parents, learn from their environment, learn from their religious people, learn from people who they contact with. And the other concept of the social cultural theory by Kotisky is that of ZPD. And what we mean by ZPD is zone of proximal development. And this refers to the difference between what a learner can do on himself and what he or she can do with the help of another. And I'm quoting, of course, these words from Peer and Macmillan 2002. However, in conclusion, Kotisky's theory framework is based on children or learner construct their knowledge from the base up. Development is linked to its social surroundings. Learning is mediated. Language plays an important role in mental development, and learners require assistance from teachers or mentors to comprehend the task at hand. This is theory, but how can we make use of this theory inside our EFL classes? So according to this theory, one of the most important things that we can make use of in our classes is the use of technology. And and in a way that we can make our students interact with each other and interact with their teachers. And in this, built on this theory, students can have opportunities to experience meaningful collaborative learning in both physical and virtual settings. So social cultural learning can take place under the online collaborative spaces such as Google, Skype, YouTube, etc. This is roughly about social cultural theory. In fact, the rest are like streams or branches of social cultural theory. The second one is constructivism, and also constructivism is based on Kotisky's social cultural theory, and he talks a lot about constructivism. He himself and other psychologists. The main component of the constructivism theory states that social interaction and social environment are necessary for cognitive development. Learners need to engage in an active, goal-oriented, and feedback-seeking process. The theory is based on a learner-centered view of teaching, which is rooted in cognitive psychology. What is important about this theory is that knowledge does not move into the learner, but rather the learner should construct knowledge. And this is a quotation from Mastis et al. 2017. According to this theory, in fact, that the core principle of this theory is that human learning is constructed and that learner build new knowledge on top of a previous knowledge. Students build their learning based on what they have learned before. And the best example on that is, why do we have first year, second year, third year, fourth year? The assumption is that, it's not assumption, it has to be fact indeed, that what the students learn in first year is based on what they have learned in the high schools. And then what they learn on second year has to be based on what they have learned before, high school and first year, and so on, third year, fourth year, and its learning is accumulative based on the previous knowledge. And of course, we can make use of this in our classes based on learner-centered approach and based on the communicative activities that learners can do and teachers can offer inside his or her classroom. So accordingly, learning is a process that requires active participation. All knowledge is unique to the individual student, and learning takes place in the mind. Then we move to John Dewey's ideas. And in fact, John Dewey's, ideas were like very progressed during his time. And he is the one who believes in the power of education and social transformation to improve the quality of life for everyone. And Dewey believes that learning is a process. It's a live process. It is not only preparing students for life. And again, we can make use from Dewey's social learning theory in a 21st century classroom by employing suitable technology that satisfies the social requirements of students. And also students can reflect their ideas inside the classrooms with meaningful activities, such as bringing live situations inside the classroom and taking students to live outside the classroom. This is very important in 21st century language education. We have to bring world outside the classroom, inside the classroom. And also we have to take students from inside the classroom, beyond the classroom. And mind you, we are not, teaching our students in order to learn inside the classroom and in order to pass exams and tests, but how they can make use of what they have learned inside the classroom in their life beyond the classroom. And I'm going to talk about this probably when we talk about how we can make our students lifelong learners. And then we have Piaget's cognitivism. And from the word, cognitivism means thinking. And Piaget thinks that learning does not take place superficially, like memories, mimicries, blah, blah, but there is certain cognitive processes that go inside learners' brains. And in cognitivism, we need to, expose our students to activities that require thinking, problem solving, idea development, and information processing. And this theory is based on, as I've just said, on the thinking processes underpinning a behavior. The theory focuses on inner mental processes to consider how people actually learn mental actions such as thinking, knowing, memorizing, blah, blah. And this leads us to Bloom's taxonomy, that out of context of this session. Of course, the use of technology that is based on cognitive theory allows for new and easier methods of doing tasks. Visual representations and oral sounds may aid in the retain of information or knowledge retention. Then we go to the next theory, which is reflectivism. And here students have to reflect what they have learned. And in here, students can, and both students and teachers can use their critical thinking skills, their problem-solving skills, and their decision-making skills, which are very important, not only for students inside the classroom, but also beyond the classroom. Mind you, you can probably, I'm repeating things like beyond the classroom. We are teaching our learners in order to be able to cope with life beyond the classroom and how we can make them compete in a global market, labor market. So this is very important. And connectivism, yeah, it's how students can connect with each other. And this theory was established on the basis that knowledge exists in the world rather than in an individual's head. Learning as a process happens within a nebulous environment of every changing key components outside of the individual controls. And how we can bring connectivism theory inside the classroom. We need to encourage our learning that takes place outside the classroom, and networks, blogs, information database, social media, online learning, etc., etc. As I said in the beginning of the session, it is worth mentioning that all these theories are integrated, work together in order to, make 21st century education in general and language education in particular fruitful. However, so what do we need then? What do we need in order to bring our classrooms, our departments, our colleges and universities at large into 21st century education? We need to move from behavioral psychology, that is called paradigm shift, to cognitive and socio-cognitive psychology, which means that we need to move from teaching to learning. However, so these are the paradigms that need to be shifted, or actually shifted in many institutions, but I'm talking about we need to be shifted because I'm talking about our situation in Kurdistan. So the first shift in paradigm is from teacher-centered education to student-centered, to student or learner-centered education or instruction. A product-oriented to process-oriented teaching. As you know, a product, it means we are after the final outcomes. We jump to the outcomes. If the outcomes have achieved, that is all. But here in 21st century education, learning is a process. And the learner has to be aware and has to learn how the processes have taken place and how a certain process is moved to the next one, or how it is related with the one before it. And before 21st century education, especially with behaviorism and audiolingalism, and students were considered as isolated, decontextualized individuals. But here, teachers have to focus more on the social aspect of learning. And this is another challenge that we face, in fact, in our academic institutions. How we can make our academic institutions both academic and social. Because nowadays, as I have said, and I keep telling my students, we are not after the knowledge, the piece of information. We are after how we can make use of that piece of knowledge in our life. So we need to, I'm one of the very much, fascinated by the social cultural theory. Everything happens is based on our social interaction. And also another point that we have to make use of is that to take into consideration our learners' individual differences, which is called nowadays personalization in 21st century pedagogy. However, we have to look after our students' needs, students' interests, students' individual differences. This is probably another session that I can talk about. And then the next paradigm shift is focus on context, foster the concept of bridging the college walls with the outside world. I've just talked about this, and we need to bridge the gap between how students learn and how students live and how bring life into or inside our classrooms. And also we need to assist our students in identifying and pursuing their own educational goals. And no more drills, no more practices, but the focus is on meaningful participation, meaningful interaction, meaningful ideas. And all these lead us to make our learners like lifelong learners, rather than we prepare them for tests and passing exams. What is the goal of a language program in the 21st century? Dr. Imdat, you said how much time do I have, sorry?
45 to 50 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Starting from 9:08.
Okay, yeah, yeah, the goal of language learning in 21st century is to develop communicative competence, reflecting real life communication. But in fact, this is nowadays not enough. Though this is written in the literature, but I would add, we need also to, orient our students and teach our students towards intercultural communicative competence. And I have many, incidences and events that happened with me, but there is no time to talk about this. So what does it mean that communicative competence reflecting real life communication? So as you can see, language and communication are at the heart of the human experience. So in this way, that our learners have to, in terms of communication, have to be well equipped with and to acquire interpersonal communication, interpretive communication, presentational communication. What do we mean? What do we mean by each mode? Interpersonal communication is students that to be able to interact with each other using the foreign language that they are learning. Interpretive, they have to be able to interpret and explain what they read or what they listen to, etc. And presentational, they have to be able to present their ideas in a proper way. In fact, in my plan, I wanted to comment on how we can develop communicative competence in our classrooms, but probably time does not allow for that. And then here there is I will go very quickly over this. So as I've just said, what is the difference between language education in the past and language education now in 21st century era? So in the past, students learned about the language grammar. Here, students learn to use the language, focus on isolated skills, listening, speaking, reading, and writing by itself, though still it has been used in some departments in the College of Languages. But we need to focus on the three modes of communication, as I've just said, interpersonal, interpretive, and presentative, because this is what they need when they use their foreign language. And of course, a shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered. The emphasis was on the teacher as the only authority in the classroom. No, on the learner as a doer, creator, participants, etc., etc. This is very important. Number 5, we in the past, we had to cover the whole textbook. Nowadays, it's not important that you cover the whole books, because even in the 21st century education, you can deviate from your lesson plan. And when something that comes up in the benefit of all the students, then you can ignore the rest and focus on that, or take that into consideration, however. Using the textbook as the curriculum, no, use authentic units, semantic and authentic units from authentic resources. Only teaching language. Now we make our students learn the language under consideration from their academic contents and context. Use technology as a cool tool, like I remember the language labs, etc. But now we have to integrate technology into our instructions in order to enhance learning, to save time, to motivate learners. And same instruction for all students. This is a challenge that we still facing, because we give the same instruction to all our students, but we don't take individual difference into consideration. This is that we need also to take into consideration later on. And you remember in the textbooks, there were artificial situations from textbooks, like especially in the audiolingual method, but now we have to personalize real world tasks, bring the world inside the classroom. However, then I'll jump to foreign language learning skills. As you know, in fact, there are 4 skills and technology, but I have added another skill, which is culture. So communication is very important, and students need to be effective communicators, and they have to be able to use language to be engaged in meaningful conversation, and to understand and interpret spoken language and written text. I've just talked about this. Okay, yeah. You can see the pictures. And then we have the culture. Culture is very important, not only a culture of the foreign language that students are learning, but also the culture of a global culture. Intercultural communication is so important nowadays in foreign language, not only in foreign language learning, but also in education in general. I'll tell you very quickly an incident that happened with me at the first time when I was a research assistant and I visited Britain. I took a course in the University of London. That was long ago. Probably it was before some of you were born. It was in 1975. And at that time, in Iraq, there was no cornflakes. If Dr. Asma is online, so I think I've told her this story. So we were invited for breakfast, and on the table there was cornflakes. We were 3 research assistants, and then we didn't know how to eat cornflakes. And we were like eating it like charazat in this way. And a teacher, a British teacher, was sitting also on the table, and he asked us, "Why are you eating cornflakes like this?" Yeah. Guess what I told him? In our country, we eat it like that. It was lack of culture. And he said, strange. And of course, it was strange. So culture is very important in teaching foreign languages. Come on. Collaboration is another skill. Students need to be collaborators, cooperative. I mean, inside the classroom and the teacher, and you can see the pictures. I think you are familiar with collaboration and with the critical thinking, problem solving, decision making. These are the higher order thinking skills, which needs to be, included in foreign language learning, and how to raise critical thinking skills in our learners, not only in order to be able to pass their exams, as I've just said, but also how they can make use of this skill outside the classroom. And our students have to be able to know how to analyze, how to synthesize, how to reflect, etc., etc. Problem solving skills also needs to be introduced inside the classroom through language education, of course, and language learning and decision making. Creativity and innovation, this goes without saying, it must be the first, and this is how countries have advanced. It is by their creative ideas, innovation, innovative ideas, and needs to be this. And this is very much, I mean, can be implemented in literature classes to the best of my experience, more than the linguistics classes, however, language classes, I mean. What is the 21st century context? We need to make content relevant to students' lives. And as I have said, we need to bridge the gap between how students learn and how students live, because what they learn will be needed in their life outside the classroom. And we have to take the students out to the world, of course, with ideas, with the activities, with the task, etc., etc. We bring the world into the classroom, and we have to create opportunities for students to interact with each other, with teachers, and with other knowledgeable adults in authentic learning experience. And this is constructivism. So what do we need to do in order to be 21st century English language departments or academic institutions? We need to redefine the classroom. The way that our students sit in Rahla desks is not convenient. The classroom has to be dynamic, has to be demanding, has to be directed, and students have got to be I mean, sit in groups around tables, round tables, so that allows them to gather, to talk, to create projects, to draw on large sheets of paper when necessary, etc. Look at this. This is 21st century classroom. Okay, and this 21st century classroom: leadership, productivity, self-direction, teamwork. What else do we need to redefine? We need to redefine ourselves as teachers. We are no more teachers in the traditional sense of the word. We are organizers, we are facilitators, we are guiders, we are, I mean, providing students, we are the ones who can provide students with sources and resources. True education is when the teacher and the students are in the same person. Look, teacher and students collaborate. Look at these pictures. Yeah, this is how we can, I mean, make ourselves as 21st century foreign language teachers. We need to redefine the school day. This is very important. Look, and remember, yeah, our colleges have tend to be دوائر حكومية. We go at 8:30 and we leave at 3 o'clock or 2:30 p.m. This is not the case in the advanced countries and advanced universities. The school day has to be like at least 12 hours. I mean, and giving our students lectures one after one, and then at 3 o'clock everyone leaves. This is not a good environment. As I've said, because, I mean, we talked about social culture theory, students need time to socialize inside the academic institution. Teachers also, we need to know each other. And by the virtue of technology, in fact, I mean, nowadays we can teach anytime, any place, yeah, and any I don't know, any what. So also we need to redefine our homework in the way that students can collaborate, cooperate, and they can use their abilities of critical thinking, problem solving, decision making. And we are trying to get our learners to be prepared to go far beyond rote memory in their ability to be analytical and innovative. And finally, we need to redefine our assignments and to make them project and solution oriented. And one of the most important things that we have to make as in our English departments is to enhance our students' writing skills, because writing is still critical as it is in public speaking. However, this is what I have in fact, and this was adapted from this 21st century skill maps, World Languages 2011, and from other resources concerning the theoretical background. I have finished. Thank you for being patient, and I hope I was able to give you what I wanted to give.
Thank you very much, Assistant Professor Mr. Lazgin Barany, for this interesting and rich presentation. Thank you. It was actually very informative and a very good eye-opening presentation for especially for the novice teachers, for those who want to be successful in the 21st century. Now we will try to allow participants to say their comments or direct their questions to Mr. Lazgin. There are some comments written while you were talking. One of them was from Media Ahmed. She talked about, when he talked about culture, she said we have to be aware of what aspects of culture we transfer to our community or to our students, because not every cultural aspect could be useful. Maybe some of them are harmful for our youth, for example, or for our people. The other thing is Media again says that merging life and education is essential, and it goes with the newest methods of teaching, right? What you said, that we have to bring life to class, or we have to prepare students for life, especially in this the life that awaits for them, which is filled with technology, an ever-changing world that we don't know what happens in 5 years' time about, I mean, technology-wise, to see what will happen. So we have to prepare them for the labor market also.
That is right. That's right.
One more thing that usually the 4 C's.
Are they excuse me, Dr. Imdad, are they questions or elaborations?
No, they were comments, actually. They were comments. Yes. If you want to say something about them, okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
One important thing that you mentioned is for 21st century teachers, they have to be able to prepare themselves to know the generation that they are dealing with. That generation that they are teaching right now is different than the previous generation. And as you know, a generation is estimated to be 25 years usually, and now we are approaching the first quarter of the century. So we expect also yet other changes to follow if teachers want to go in line with the technological advancements, with the new world, new life requirements. They have to be prepared to change and to adapt themselves.
That's right.
Change and adapt, these two are very important. I have no specific question. I just wanted to say this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. But concerning cultural elements, I do agree. In fact, I've written a paper on that, cultural awareness and intercultural awareness towards language education and communicative language teaching towards language education. Yes, we have to be aware of, I mean, learners' own culture and the foreign language culture that they are learning. This is, I mean, axiomatic among applied linguists.
Okay.
As you said, life inside the classroom is very important, because we are not, I mean, as I keep telling this and saying this, sorry, we are not teaching students in order to pass only their exams, but we prepare them for life beyond the classroom. Yeah, that is very important. Thank you so much.
Mr. Saman Babakar sent a question. He says, according to your point of view, to what extent textbooks, using a textbook is important in the subject of listening and speaking in EFL classes?
Is it for high schools or
EFL classes? He written EFL classes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm personally, I'm not in favor of using textbooks, because textbooks and Malazim, they are spoon feeding. What we need is, look, the whole world is now in our hands by the virtue of technology and the internet. So in listening and speaking, we need to bring authentic materials inside our classrooms as much as we can. And it depends on the skills of the teacher, the commitment of the teacher, the motivation of the teacher, etc. But I mean, with textbooks, okay, they are like signposts, it can be used, but how much the textbook contains authentic materials. In 21st century education, in communicative language teaching, what do we need? Authentic materials.
Material, yeah, that's right. So, thank you very much. Mr. Muhammad raised his hand, Muhammad Balaki. Mr. Muhammad, you can ask your question or add your comment if you want. Go ahead, please.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. Can you hear me, please?
Yes. Okay. We are not presidents here. We are friends.
Okay, I would just like to address you as Mr. President, actually, because I've heard a lot about you.
Thank you, sir.
I graduated from Soran University. My teachers always praised you. So that's why I would love to address you as presenters.
That's very kind of you.
So yeah, you're very welcome. Truth be told, I just would like to take this opportunity to express my profound and deep regards for both of you for giving this impressive presentation. It was just amazing, and it really impressed me a lot. I only have one question. My question is, what do you think of using multiple intelligence approach, in teaching English in 21st century? This is my question.
Good. Thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad from
You're very welcome.
Soran.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad. Yes, it's multiple intelligence approach is used in 21st century language education. And also it's part of the competency-based language education. Of course, what is the main elements of the multiple intelligence approach is that you bring the whole language inside your classroom, and you make use of all the competencies that you have as a teacher and you have as a student, a learner. And I don't know if Dr. Hamdad has any comments on that.
I think it's clear. Usually, as you said, when teachers have their own styles and methods of teaching, you have to know that students have their styles of learning. And this is related to the intelligence that they possess. So a successful teacher in the 21st century must be able first to know what is the style that each student favors, and usually what kind of intelligences they have. These multiple intelligences, was first proposed by Howard Gardner, and some people would say 9 types, some people would say 13 types, but they are very closely related actually, and teachers must be aware of that. Thank you, sir. We have another question. I don't know, the name does not read well with me, but it's written Realme Q3 Pro Special. But the question is, which way is available for assessing input skills in our country? Assessing input skills in our country. That's a question by itself. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but I think it's out of context of this.
Okay.
this
Okay, this
session.
gentleman or gentlewoman can contact us later on, maybe for a later discussion.
By all means, by all
Okay.
means. by all means.
Nazanin has written a question. How can we help our teachers of basic schools to be aware of foreign language culture?
Yeah, I mean, it's by being exposed to the language culture, right? Whether when they were students at the college, or they themselves can depend on what is available on the internet and what is available in books. And look, it's a point that I want always to talk about. One of the best sources of foreign culture is literature. But the point is how literature is taught inside our literature classrooms or in our literature classes.
That's right.
Yeah. So if literature is taught in the right way, students' language skills will be developed and their cultural awareness
will be raised. Yeah, that's for sure. When we were students, actually, we were reading, I mean, literally works of 600 pages, 700 pages.
From the title to the last page.
Yeah, to the last page. Now, students and even teachers, unfortunately, they are after simplified books, just simplified ones. And even within the simplified one, they take a couple of pages, not all of it. So this is actually a disaster happening, because through literature, you know the culture. Through literature, you strengthen your language, your expression, your understanding.
Vocabulary development.
Vocabulary, that's right.
Awareness,
we have two participants raising their hands. Unfortunately, the names do not appear. One of them is Galaxy A50. So Galaxy A50, that's the name of the device they use. Can you open your mic? Now we are allowing you to open your mic, please, to address the question or the comment. I'm asking you to unmute. Yes, please.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I am Dr. Haider. Pleased to have, let's say, to participate in this, let's say, the seminar. I don't know. So
thank you, Dr. Haider.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Barani. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One very important thing in, let's say, after constructivism theory is connectivism theory. Connectivism, which relies on the connections between students, teachers. So it is very important here how to make students connect to, let's say, between themselves, to the teacher, and to the knowledge. What do you think, or what are, let's say, the best ways of connections between teachers and students? Because there are problems with the connections.
That is right. That is right. However,
Dr. Haider, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so
very
much.
Thank you.
Can I answer the question, Dr. Hamdan?
Yes, please. Yes, please, Doctor.
The connectivism theory recognizes that technology is an important element of the learning process, and that continual connectivity allows making decisions about education. It encourages group participation, debates, and allowing for a variety of opinions and perspectives when making decisions, solving problems, and interpreting data. So, yeah, the best way is, first of all, online, if it's available, if it's not possible inside the classroom, and then dividing the students into groups, communicative activities, but connectivism in its wider perspective, Dr. Haider, is that how much technology can help connect students and teachers around the globe, as well as the classroom. Yeah.
Thank you. We have two other questions. Again, that person who asked the question, it's Realme QRQ. Can you open your mic, please, to address your question?
Are you hearing me, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Himdat and Mr. Lazgin. Sorry, my name doesn't appear. I am Falah Hassan. I'm the English teacher, Dr. Himdat. Sorry.
Hello, Mr. Falah. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you. My question was about the skills that every language needs to be taught to the learners. As we know that there are four main skills. The two were input skills like listening and reading, and the others were the output skills.
Productive skills, yeah,
the
we call
productive
them
skills,
productive
yeah, the
skills,
production, the productive skills, the speaking and writing. And we are facing as teachers in Kurdistan about the way that the High Committee for Examinations draw or format the questions. We don't have even a single question about listening tasks. That's why we as teachers neglect these points. That's why one of the legs for the language teaching is broken, unfortunately. And I am wondering about which way we can adopt it in order to, even if there are not scoring on these points, in order to encourage the students, in order to give importance to these skills. Thank you.
The four skills or the
just the listening,
especially yeah, the input ones, listening.
Yeah, the listening. Yeah, we are facing listening points. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Falah. Thank you. Interesting question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
Dr. Lazgin.
Yeah. In fact, I don't know. In 21st century, I'm not talking about language skills as such, like the four language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. I'm talking about education skills, what students can learn when they acquire these skills. However, I mean, I keep telling you the best way is that you resort to technology, online, to YouTube's videos. This is the best way. I mean, I know it is the listening skill is too difficult for learners, because yeah, especially when it is I mean, spoken by native speakers. We need to make like our learners be aware of what accent they are listening to. And for me, sometimes it is too difficult to understand my learners because of their accent. So this is like a big issue in language teaching and learning. Yeah, I do agree with you. But one of the ways is by using technology, and technology is dominant in 21st century education.
Yeah.
I hope that will.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Media Ahmed. Mr. Media.
Thank you, everyone. I don't have a question, but Marwan, I have to share my opinion about using group work in the classrooms. As I mentioned before in the chat box, that the aim of group work is communicating, making students use the language in a communicative activity. So we don't need to put obstacles in front of teachers, as like they don't have tables, round tables, chairs, and no need to do group work.
That is right.
They can do it even they are sitting on the fixed desks, because we have to focus on the aim of group work, not only the facilities that they have. This is the main thing that we face when we ask teachers to focus on group and pair work in the classrooms. They say we don't have tables, we don't have round tables and chairs, there's no space in the classroom, students are sitting in rows and on fixed desks. But I always tell them, okay, they can do it even they are sitting on desks. They can, the two students turn around and they do the activity together, because the aim is communication, not only just to do the activity. They sit in front of each and face each other. They can't face each other if they turn back. Two students with the other two students sitting
or simply they can stand up.
Use
they
the
don't need to be sitting. They can stand
up. There are some activities like mingling, like find someone who they can do a lot of activities in the classroom. They can stand and go around the classroom.
That's right.
So what I mean, we don't need to focus on. Even sometimes I don't mention tables and chairs for group work. No need. I say no need for that. The students just need to speak with each other, use the language, and that's all. That's the aim of communicative language approach, or to the aim of making students communicate using the language they are learning. The other thing, the other comment is about the 21st skills of education. I mean, I want to add one more thing to that, which is self-regulation. Self-regulation strategies that our learners lack, unfortunately, in our community. When students become self-regulated, there will be no need for, I can say, teachers or course books. They only become resources that they need. Okay, they can learn language, any language, second language or any other language very easily if they are self-regulated learners. So we can add this topic to our courses to be taught the strategies of self-regulation in universities, even in high school. They can teach students how to be self-regulated, and things will be much easier for them, and they can learn the second language much easier. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Imam Mustamidia. Thank you. Dr. Lazgin, if you want to comment on her comments.
Yeah,
they were not questions.
She is quite right. I mean, what infrastructure we can, I mean, make available for our teachers in order to move their classes into communicative language teaching classes and into 21st century language education. Yes, she is right. She's quite right. Thank you.
Thank you. Sardar English, it's written Sardar English. Yes, Mr. Sardar.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to talk here. And it's my pleasure to give comments about something here. And also thanks for all your explanation. I just want to talk about something according to my experience about teaching. As you know, right now, I think teaching is not easy for new generation. As you know, there have many of facility about teaching. For example, we have theoretically and practically, but nowadays it's very common about teaching. You should work as a practically. For example, one of the points you have been mentioned in previous time, you talk about group activity. And right now with my students, I always do like that. Why? Because group activity, as you know, it is a kind of motivation for your student. And also they are going to avoid of bothering, annoying when you are doing like that. As you know, as a kind of cooperation between students. But there is one technique is very important, how to divide them, how to distribute them. For example, in one group, we have A, B, C, D. There is not all the smart student in one group. You should, you just divide them. For example, one of the leader is a smart student and divide to different things and how to cooperate and brainstorming, give idea, exchange information. And also, you know, about practically and other comments we have mentioned it, we have many things to use it. For example, we are as an English teacher or other science teacher or math teacher, they have many things to use. For example, you have some posters, you have, because image, or you can say picture is different with the theoretically. For example, I show you a picture, it is fixed in your mind. But when I'm talking, just talking without show you anything, it is gonna be forgetful. For example, there is a car accident. When you see by your eyes, it's different with somebody who is narrated to you. When you see this accident, it's fixed in your mind, maybe you never forget. But somebody who narrates to you, you're gonna be forget. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Do you have a specific question, please?
Yeah. My specific question about one thing, in my opinion, it is the listening one of the hardest way to the new learners or who want to speak English, want to learn English. Just I wanna know about that. is if I'm right or not. Listening is the hardest way to learn, or other skills. As you know, we have 4 basic skills: speaking, writing, listening, but in my opinion, listening is the hardest way. Is right or not?
Good. Thank you very much, Mr. Sardar, for your participation. Thank you. If you want to comment on that, he is asking, do you think that he believes that listening is the hardest among the 4 skills? What do you say about this?
It is not the hardest. The hardest learning and teaching a skill is writing. Writing is very difficult to teach and to learn because it depends on a lot of things. It depends on the learner's world knowledge. It depends on the learner's competency of the language. So out of my experience, and also how to organize the writing, etc., etc. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Thank you very much.
But in fact, every skill has to be challenging in order to be acquired or learned.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Okay. Any other question? It depends. Mr. Saman has written, it depends in the chat box. You can read the, it depends on the environment in which we live in to improve listening. That's right. Environment plays
because Dr. Himdad, listening goes with a lot of variables. It goes with psycholinguistics, right? And with the learner's capacity of concentration, of catching sounds, of so many things, in fact.
Usually when we talk about 21st century skills, we usually come across the 5 C's, the 4 C's actually.
Yes.
The 4 C's that you have talked about.
Yes.
I have presented a seminar in different places, and I have added another C myself.
Which is?
The 4 C's of 21st century are communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, right?
Yes, yes.
I usually say choice, which is very giving choice to students in the 21st century is very helpful, because it is the human nature that they like to be given options, not to direct them or order them to do that. Instead of teachers saying to all the students, do this, for example, or solve this drills, these items, you give them some options, either do a project or do a presentation or do these exercises. And this choice will increase what we call student agency. We will lead later on by the end to having more autonomous learners. You transfer some part of that responsibility to the students themselves. With the passage of time, they learn that how to make decisions, how to make choices, and when they make choices, they are responsible for doing that option that they have chosen or they have selected.
Yes, you're right. And also, you know, we have to take into consideration learners' needs, learners' interests, and their individual differences in a way that we can motivate them to learn or to acquire the foreign language under consideration.
That's right. That's right. Okay, gentlemen and women, if there's anything else that you can add.
I don't know if you have time, Dr. Himdad. I prepared a short video, YouTube. If there's time for that, I'll try if I can
how long is the video? How long is the video?
3-4 minutes.
3-4 minutes. Okay, but let me read that comment from Soma Nawzad. She says that the C's are 5 now, no more 4. She says confidence is also added to the list recently.
Yes.
So this is interesting. Thank you, Soma, for sharing. It is confidence. You have to build confidence to your students so that they depend on themselves also. Thank you very much. Yes, let's try the video. You are the co-host.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it. I don't know. Yes.
And that is that.
That was very interesting, actually. Thank you very much. With this, I think there are no more questions, and it's almost an hour and a quarter, an hour and let's say 75 minutes. Thank you very much in the name of Academy, MegaMind Plus Academy and the staff. We would like to thank Assistant Professor Mr. Lazgin Barany from University of Nawroz, who luckily was able to find some time for our audience to present this interesting topic. It was really informative and short and to the point. And thank you for the participants who were with us for 75 minutes and who were also participants in one way or another through either comments or questions and sharing their insights. Thank you very much for the volunteer staff of the Academy who worked hard in order to make this happen in the preparations of the poster, the forms, and the recording later on will be shared with the participants, and so that you can also share it with your contacts later on, and it will be also posted on our YouTube channel for later use and for archive. Thank you very much, Dr. Lazgin. Do you have any last words?
Thank you so much, Dr. Hamdad, for giving me this very interesting opportunity to talk about this topic, 21st century education, and also thank the participants for raising very interesting and beneficial questions. And
thank you very much, and have a good day, sir.
It
Thank
was
you.
Up to the, expectations of the
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was very kind of you. Dear audience, that's it for today, and stay tuned for further webinars on Saturday nights, inshallah. And again, thanks for all. With your permission, we are going to end the session here, and take care.
Enjoy the rest of the evening, everybody.